and roll Chicago.
Hey, it's Ray and Mike, and we got some great information for you.
Yeah, we just wanted to remind you about the fundraiser for the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, which is taking place on October 27th at the Renaissance Center in downtown Joliet.
You'll be able to get tickets at Cadillac Groove shows. If you see Mike or myself somewhere, we'll have tickets. You can get them at the museum. They're only $5.
Also at CadillacGroove.com, you will be able to purchase them online as well.
Very good.
They're going to cost you $5 a ticket. There's going to be a $10 cover charge to get in the day of the event. And for your $10, we will give you 2 more additional tickets as well as some Cadillac Groove swag. And the lucky grand prize winner will win the band Cadillac Groove.
And winner must be present to win. So remember that.
And Cadillac Groove will play for whatever event it is that you would like for us to play for. You know, conditions do apply.
That's true.
We do have
so
to
get
say
out
that.
there and get your tickets right away. Coming to you from the studios at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, it's the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast. Hey, everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is Hollywood Mike.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the NFL draft.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of jacked up about that.
Even though this is airing in September.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I mean, you know, hey, everybody picked a lot of good players. It was pretty cool. You know, the draft was fantastic.
I can't believe we passed on. I can't believe we took a lineman instead of a quarterback with our first pick.
Well, you take what you can get. You know? You know, like, Rocky had no choice. We went with this guy named Dolph Lundgren to film a Rocky movie. He's the only one that wanted to take the role. So,
that's right.
I hear there's only like 7 Dolphs in the country.
That's what I've heard. Only 7.
I know. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Only 7.
Yeah.
And I think they have a club, they get together and
there is. Do you know Dolph?
No, I understand it's more of a bat, like a fungo bat, than a club.
A club.
Well, joining us this evening is Dolph Chaney. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful.
Oh my goodness.
Why don't you treat him with the ladies?
Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now we got the gals.
Thanks, gals. Sorry, I'm married. Right. Appreciate it.
Oh, boys and their toys.
What can you do?
Yeah. So how you doing, Dolph? Good to see you
good.
here.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. It's Southside,
Yeah.
It's good to represent down here in the South Burbs, not far away. I'm over in Homewood.
Oh, that's not too far at all.
Yeah, based out there. So it's terrific to be here. First time inside the museum complex, as it were. Looking great.
Right. Did you get the little 50-cent tour yet? Or
Not yet.
We'll do that. We'll do that afterwards.
Yeah, take care of that.
Everybody that comes in here gets to kind of go through the part that we can go through because most of it's still under construction.
Still working.
So you pretty much see what we have to offer just by simply walking over to the bathroom. You walk through the main area over there.
Exactly. But no, it's great. I'm super excited for more development here, and I took a selfie outside next to Shaka Khan's picture with shoes and with enough's enough listed on the sign there.
Right.
So it's a good memory because I got to open for Donnie V last year.
Oh, no kidding.
Nice.
Wow, nice.
It was sweet over at Blue Island Beer, and it was a good time. Little hometown jam for him.
Cool. Okay, yeah, right.
Since he's from over there. So.
Did you get the selfie with Gigantar? On the
Not
funnel?
yet.
You have to do that.
Yeah.
You got to do that. And then when we give you the tour, the amplifier that goes along with Gigantar is actually in that room over there.
Yeah.
As well. It's like a 7-foot tall Fender Deluxe Reverb.
Yeah, Ron asked me if I'd get up there and tune it before I leave tonight, so I got to get up there.
Oh man, that requires scaffolding.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah, like what do you even do to twist those kind of gears? What kind of tool is that? Just get a cement mixer and like jam it up in the.
Could be. Yeah,
I'd hate to see the tuning fork.
Oh yeah. Windows breaking.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, I'm excited to have you here. I got the link to your website and some of your music and the whole bit. And I have to say, being new to the whole, what is it, Dolph and the Phins? Is that?
Yeah, that's the live band, Dolph Chaney and the Phins.
And the Phins. I'm intrigued. Just by the first few cuts that I listened to, you have kind of a very, it's not a unique sound, but it is unique in the way that I think you perform it.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. I think I know what you're getting at. And it's recognizable elements, right? It's nothing that is too weird or too hard to follow, but I do think I brew up my own sort of brew out of those elements. So kind of a
90s pop, a little bit of a touch on the punk, a little bit, indie rock kind of stuff.
Definitely. I had been writing songs since I was a kid, but when I was having my first bands, it was early 90s. And so, that solidified a lot of the things that I've been listening to up then. But when I think about live, that is kind of, if I'm not doing a coffee house situation, right. A live band to me is post grunge. It's anything Bob Mould is doing. It's sort of that kind of an edge.
Right. And how long have you been playing around in the area with this configuration of the project?
Yeah, this band is only a couple of years old. I did not have a band for a very long time. So in the early 90s, like I was saying, I had a band. I was living in Houston, I was in college, and I had a couple of bands going down there. That ended, and life, kind of happened in a variety of ways. But I didn't get back into a band situation for a very long time. I just kept writing songs and occasionally putting out a recording, and occasionally playing out live. But I kind of got the hunger again after the last couple, 3 records. After I got onto a label, it was really the next step. I missed the camaraderie of it and just having that rush of sound and drummers,
right.
Drummers.
Right.
You don't think you will, but you miss drummers.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. if for no other reasons, the stupid stuff they say when they're sitting back there.
Every single one. Bless
and we never put a microphone by our drummer. We can't. We don't know what's going to come out. We don't have a delay
dump button. Yeah.
You
guys are pros, I can tell. You've been through a thing or two.
Right. So everybody has like the one song or the one album or something where they heard that made the light bulb go off and say, I think I want to do this.
Yeah, it's a good point. I'd say the one that switched things, I was already writing songs, I was already playing guitar, but the one that changed my taste over from sort of classic rock to closer to what I'm doing now was The Mayor of Simpleton by XTC.
Okay.
Yeah, it was alternative stuff, early 89.
Right. I know XTC. I don't know if I'm specifically, familiar with that one particular
that tune. The album is called Oranges and Lemons, and besides it just being great, it's really, really upbeat and chimey and really witty lyrics. I first saw it on MTV, and it was really helped out by the fact that I'm watching
MTV. What's this MTV?
Oh, there's this.
There used to be a station that they actually showed.
You wouldn't understand. Sometimes they would play music on TV. I don't know. It's confusing. It's hard
in between the people from New Jersey and stuff like that.
Right. It's a confusing concept. I don't know. But just go with me. Pretend that this was real.
Okay. All right. I'm there. All right. I'm there.
So they had watching a bunch of videos, and this being early 89, Phil Collins's version of A Groovy Kind of Love comes on. And, Phil Collins, hey, it's hard to be too mad at Phil Collins, but that take on A Groovy Kind of Love is so slow and takes forever. And so the energy was not there, and so for the next thing to come up on the television to be this 136 beat a minute, chimey, funny, really melodic tune by XTC, they should pay Phil Collins a nice little sum. I hear he could use it these days.
So I guess the way that's a good idea. That's the way it goes. Yep. If you have a song that you're not sure about, put it in front of a sleep or put it after a sleeper.
See what they think. It's a boost.
Right.
Help those guys out. Yeah.
Right.
Probably would have dug it anyway. I'm just going to go out on a limb.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's the one. That to me, that's for the effect it had on me, that was the greatest song in world history.
And how old were you? Or
I was 15.
You're about 15.
I was 15. Okay. So I've been playing guitar a couple of years, and I was writing like just goofy like kid stuff songs. Like I had study hall that year, and I would just sit down when I was done with my homework and just make up stuff about my lunch or my teachers, or just what you do when you got more pimples than sense. And so that was the extent of it. It was sub Weird Al, and then it's like, oh, okay, there's kind of a way to do this, but make it sound like a song, and still kind of have some personality to it. So
right.
that was it. It was the doorway in.
Yeah. And when did all the music lessons and start for you?
Right on. So most of my family's musical. My mom was always singing and playing piano at home. My sister sings really well. And so that was always kind of around. So I was starting to nag my folks for piano lessons. And so when I was 8, I started taking those and learning how music and it worked. And I could sing too already by that age. And so I was figuring that stuff out. And then it was time, I wanted to pick up a new instrument. For about 6 weeks, I was in 7th grade band on trumpet. For all parties, that was deemed to be something to move on from pretty quickly.
All parties involved.
Parties involved.
They had a meeting.
Yeah. And I did not fight. But that did give me a little leverage to say, could we try guitar this time?
Right.
I mean, it's electric. You won't even hear if I play it in headphones. So
right. I had a similar experience because I took organ lessons.
Oh, sure.
And I still have the organ. It's in the basement of my house and everything. And my mother, she said, "Look, I bought this. You're taking them." And even when I lost interest in it, she's like, "Nope, you're taking them." And I literally took organ lessons from like 3rd grade, and she made me go all the way through 8th grade.
Wow, right on.
Doing it, but I took a little bit of a hiatus when I was in junior high, and I attempted the saxophone.
Oh yeah, and they're hard to play.
And again, it was the same thing. All parties involved got together and said, "Yeah, this is not for you.
It's not like
yeah. You need to part ways with that.
Yeah, we're just gonna have.
Yeah. So you had a musical family. That's good.
Yeah.
So when you were younger and you said you had learned that you could sing, that was it just like in the shower, or did you get involved in like maybe community theater? Or kind of
eventually, our stuff. My dad, my late father, was a pastor, so this was all church stuff at the time. Sure. Like we were, 6 days a week, either mopping up or doing something or having a class, and so that was us. And so a lot of music, this is good because you're learning to sing harmony right away, and you're also learning like that music can uplift and like has the emotional quality of it is there. So pick up some of those things right away. Yeah.
Plus people who write hymns, right? They're not always simple. They're not your basic 1, 4, 5 and rock and roll progressions and 3-chord things. Cause some of that stuff you learn how to play in church really, helps you sharpen your skills as a musician.
It's a really good point. People miss that. They're catchy, right? Because they're meant to stick in your mind, so you remember them. But to actually sit down in a company is it's finger twisting some of that stuff. Right, it really, really is.
I think a lot of that stuff was written on a glockenspiel.
I think it was. Yeah, it was written on a glockenspiel. Yeah, he's forever on a quest to find a band that has a glockenspiel in it. You've never heard anybody say, "And on glockenspiel is," and they introduce some guy. I mean, it's.
Never have.
Well, on top, the first guy I think of is the late Danny Federici, because he would always, you have to have one for Jungle Land and Born to Run. So he'd have it next to the organ. Short of that, I don't know of anybody who had like glockenspiel maintenance in their writer.
There was a glockenspiel in Born to Run. Yeah.
See, I'm not that weird.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just such a fun word to say. It is German, but it's true. Yeah, I can't.
You got to go. You have to do this to the microphone. You have to wipe the microphone off.
You have to say that. Yeah, you
say
do.
glockenspiel.
Yeah.
Bless you.
So no, that's good. That's interesting. You start off young and cut the chops in church and everything.
I was really, really lucky to have that.
Yeah, man. So you started playing in bands. You said you were around 15.
Like real. I had my 2-3 buddies in the basement just yelling into boom boxes, probably starting when I was like 14.
Yelling in the boom box.
Yeah, just like, you'd have this square and the little the tiny little condenser mics. They're just those little, right? And so we would just, that was the really complicated. And it turned out the tape head on that boom box was a little off. And so I discovered if you recorded over a tape, you could hear what was on before a little bit, but just because of the fault in the tape head. And so eventually we kind of experimented with, you'd never hear it well enough to be like real multi-tracking.
Right.
But you could make some really loud just background noise.
Right.
And then come back and play something over the top of it, and you would still kind of hear the goofy stuff that you did the first time around.
The precursor to mashups.
Yeah. And it's all like, what is it? Brian Eno has those cards with like suggestions on it. One of them, it says, honor thy error as a hidden intention. And so I think about that. It's what the tape head was telling me on the boombox in 1988.
Wow. Bedroom multi-track recording on a boombox.
Yeah.
And if you were lucky enough, you had the little black microphone from Radio Shack that had the little plastic piece that would prop it up and it would make it sound a little better.
Yeah.
I remember
that big upgrade.
That was a big upgrade.
That's like 4 weeks of allowance.
Yeah. I had those. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. You had to not buy Fago that week and then just, save up for
were you guys writing original music then, or were you just kind of screaming at trying to record covers?
Yeah.
Let's see if we sound
I
like
don't know if we were not far enough along to do covers. That's the truth. Like you could call us true punks because we're like, I don't know any songs, but I know this bunch of chords and I'm going to play them in this order most of the time for the next 2 minutes.
Just really loud.
Just loud. And just with the cracking mid-pubescent voices and just, it was a delight to the ear. I think you can all tell this is really, I'm really selling it.
But you still have them though.
I found those tapes.
Yeah.
Not long ago.
Yeah. So, everybody does. I still have some of mine too.
Yeah.
You have to.
I'm really glad I do, but
of course,
but I am not yet brave enough to like break them out and try to, I don't know. I keep thinking, one day I'm going to get them I'm going to digitize them and level them and get, and then I back away, I was like, I'm not ready.
Right. So you've got a couple of albums out.
Yeah. I've been doing things. It kind of depends on how you measure it. Like, because if you count from things that I sold 5 copies of,
okay,
I've got something like 20.
Okay.
But
and if you put them all together and add them all up, they'll go aluminum.
Yeah, seriously.
Right. Get a combined aluminum album.
That's right.
The first time that I sold 5 copies of something to my friends, I drew a big circle on a piece of paper and I hung my paper record. I was really proud. But if you count the last 4 years I've been on a label, Mug, that came out in October 23 is my 3rd record.
Okay.
And there are others though. If you go on streaming, there are some independent things I did long before that can be found.
Right. Is there a difference in the sound from the current album versus the earlier ones?
Just competence mostly. And I don't mean, I was probably writing half decent songs by the mid 90s, right? But better recording, better playing, and especially on the most recent couple, more collaboration. Like I worked alone for a long time and I kind of surrendered to the fact that I only have so many skills in so many areas, and that's not going to change. I even tried to learn drums as an adult, which is very hard to do. Mm-hmm. Went up to the Old Town School of Folk Music, took a few weeks of lessons. Right. it's really, really hard to do.
Yeah.
As,
I mean,
as
it's
a grown person.
It's the whole,
Really tough. I could not make the feat happen.
Right.
So, so I surrendered to the process, called in some friends, called in some favors and said, could you help me do a thing? And it started to take shape. And I've benefited a lot from it.
Right. Now the members of your live band, are any of those guys playing on the album, or is it just
not on this? I had not met everybody until I was about halfway through recording Mug. Okay. So we did think about like, oh, should we do half of it with the new guys? But it had a feel. So we decided in the end, we'll continue this so that it is cohesive. And then next time, bring in the live guys. Right.
So I have to tell you, before we get on, actually talking about the music and the whole bit, and you're going to play something for us in the studio. I watched some of your live videos. And like I said, I listened to some cuts from the album Mug. You have a really good guitar tone sound.
Thank you so much.
You really do. I was really impressed with it. So I have to ask, I don't ask this every podcast, but I do have to ask you, tell me a little bit about your setup and how you're getting that sound.
Right on. Well, here's where, like for many things, I need to give credit where it's due. And that is to
I did nothing.
Thanks, Rick.
Never a truer statement has been spoken.
Yeah. Zing. No, my partner on this album and the one before it is Nick Bertling, who is a fantastic drummer and engineer and produced the record. He has the full producer credit because I'll get to that. Plays a ton of instruments himself, sings as well. So it's really my raw material, and he's shaping a lot of it. So what we have, I'm using mostly a Fender Telecaster with humbuckers in it, so a Tele Deluxe.
Right.
That has a split. So for guitar nerds, it means it can sound really thin or it can sound a little fuller and have some flexibility with it.
Right.
And live, I've also recently picked up a big Gretsch 12 string.
Oh, okay.
Like a blonde, like what Nesmith had in the Monkees, I saved up to get one of those on a splurge. And there's a lot of 12 string on the record, but I didn't play it. So in order to kind of make it work live, I wanted to make that happen. A lot. Again, this is taking behind the curtain, but tone wise, like effects wise and everything, most of it's in the box. Most of it's software and plugins and emulations. Very little was recorded with a real amp.
Right.
It's the magic of today. So we're emulating a lot of Fender combos, a little bit of overdrive, and they have to really tell me to stay away from pedals. It's a thing to where I'll put 7 or 8 down and don't have the coordination to work them and step on the wrong thing. And suddenly, your quiet acoustic number has fuzz and some terrible phase shift.
And the volume level goes high.
So they have to keep stuff. People have to hide. Yeah. My fellow guitarist in the band has taken to saying, okay, do you need those 3? Could you just indulge me? Yeah. And he's right. So
yeah. No, you're preaching to the choir. I am a guitar right into an amp kind of guy myself. Yeah. I find all that to be a distraction.
Yeah.
It really is. But I mean, that's the recorded tone.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed with, you've got some live videos.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with the live sound.
Oh, thank you.
I really was. Are you using some type of direct box for that? Or do you have an amp on stage with you?
It depends. I've done it a few different ways. And of course, some places, as you go, play in some venues, you're using house amps.
Sure.
But I kind of know which of their selection I'm going to work with. And so it's usually a Fender combo of some kind. I use a Champ myself, nice and portable. But always happy to see a Princeton or Fender Deluxe Reverb, as we were talking about, Gigantar earlier.
Yeah.
And that usually sounds about like what my ear is expecting to hear. Right. Once in a while a Vox. But yeah.
Yeah, nice.
That's pretty much the sound. A little bit of rat pedal when I need to drive something.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I think that's a prerequisite for indie type music.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time for our ears to be hearing some of this.
Ooh. Sure. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah. Well, why don't we take a short break?
I was still nerding out on his rig though.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
I get that a lot.
No, that's okay. That's all right. Now let's take a break and let's get them all set up so we can hear something.
We'll be right back.
All righty.
You're listening to the Rock and Roll Chicago Podcast.
Hi, I'm Rick Anthony. I'd like to thank my radio brothers, Ray the Roadie and Hollywood Mike, for allowing me to tell you about my podcast, the Someone You Should Know podcast. We spotlight musicians, authors, and interesting people, and we like to say we're making a difference one artist at a time. The podcast is heard twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays, and you can check it out on your favorite streaming platforms and on the web at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast.com. That's the Someone You Should Know podcast with me, Rick Anthony. Making a difference, one artist at a time.
I'm Christy from Crime Cave Podcast. I've had a huge interest in true crime since my days of watching marathons of Snapped back in the mid-90s. I needed an outlet to talk about the cases that have haunted me for a very long time. With each episode under 20 minutes, I shine a light on some of the most bizarre cases in the last 50 years. Join me in the Crime Cave.
Alrighty, for the first time tonight, Dolph Chaney, Finless.
Indeed. Yeah. So I thought I would do the opening song from Mug. This sets up a lot about my personality anyway, so it kind of had to lead the record off, and it's nice.
Nice isn't kind, finishing last inside my head. Once even finished last in bed, and on my tombstone 2 words, dead. Nice.
Ladies, stay back, please. Stay back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Excellent.
Very nice.
Excellent. Yeah. That's a great cut. Your guitar playing is very, very Dave Matthew-esque.
Oh, yeah.
I've always thought that whenever I've watched him play, he doesn't just like to sit stagnant with his hand in one position for very long.
No, it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't claim he's a far more skilled player than I am, but I appreciate the comparison. Always gets a good sound. And, yeah. When he's got to just stay away from those buses downtown. He's golden.
Just stay off the bridges.
Stay off the bridges.
No kidding. So you said that song would kind of give us some insight to your personality, to your head. Tell us about the song a little bit.
Yeah. So, I'm definitely the person who accommodates too much, tries to give way. I don't know if it's because I got tall real early and awkward real early, or if it was happening before then too. But like, I always feel like I'm taking up too much space and I'm always in the way. And so I developed that thing about, I'll just, you go ahead. I'm good. And it's not always real good for you in the end. So I sat down with some thoughts around that. And that's what came of it. So
right.
It's not always good. It's not always really loving to just be a doormat. You got to show up a little bit too. You got to have some opinions it's the things that you learn when you start having grown-up relationship. It's like, oh yeah, if I have the other person make all the decisions, they don't like that. Oh, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Not usually, but hey, there are some out there
That's right.
that are like that. Yeah. So when you write, is it usually just you yourself, or do you have people that you like to bounce ideas off of and collaborate with?
I have really very rarely gotten to do writing collaboration. I did in college. My band in college, I had a co-writer, and that was really fun. But then I worked alone a long time, and only recently with a couple of guys have I chipped in a verse or chipped in and I'm really enjoying it. I want to do a lot more of that. There was a single, for example, a bunch of us that are on the same record label, Big Stir Records, based out in LA, had an idea to make it was going to be Record Station Day or DJ Day, National DJ Day. And we had an idea to kind of celebrate DJs that have been really good to all of us by writing something. And so one of them started it off, and I chipped in part of the chorus lyric, and I gave it the title. The title is Airwave Hello, like wave hello, but Airwave Hello. And so that's kind of a Wilburys thing that we gave the band name The Electromagnates to. And so that's a good little tight 2-minute piece, and all four of us wrote little bits of and overdubbed on, and that was a blast. That was a real pleasure. So I hope by this time next year I will have done a whole lot more of that. It's really fun.
Right.
But mostly, to get back to the what I most often do, once in a while a whole song shows up all at once. It's not very common, but they're special when they do. If one that really works shows up all in one, that's pretty amazing. More commonly, I will, for music, just be warming up, practicing, noodling, and something will catch my ear, and I'll repeat it a few times and see if it kind of sticks. A trick I learned, just read about, I think Elton John does this sometimes, but like if you play something, you think you like it, and you go away and you come back the next day and you remember it and you still like it, then you're on to something. So run with that idea. Right. It's served me well, that principle. Words are the same. I keep notebooks full of title ideas, of one-liners. I can't say how many times I'll have written something that I thought was super clever in a social media post. I'm like, yeah, that line isn't bad. I better remember that. And and throw it in something later on when I'm stuck for a joke. So yeah, half the time it's a notebook of titles and puns. And what's fun about that is, yeah, it's a bad joke. It's a groaner sometimes, but I find that those things break open something and kind of trick you into getting real if you follow the line of an idea like that all the way through to its conclusion. So a lot of my songs start with something very silly and end up, oh no, okay, this actually is kind of a 3D picture. I mean, the songs that y'all hear,
right.
You know, I keep the rest locked away.
Yeah.
But the ones that work. Yeah.
Do you finish every song?
No. That's worked out well for me though. Because I've got things where I knew a bit was good and I just could not complete it. And it's sometimes been years,
right?
Many years.
Oh yeah.
And if I like it well enough, I will just record the bit and certainly make sure I've got the words written down for the bit. And if it's not happening, then okay, just let it sit, come back to it when it feels right, or come back to it when I have an idea, and then remember this old song piece that might go with it. That has worked out really, really well on some occasions.
There's been a lot of hits written with that method.
Yeah. I think Elvis Costello is where I first heard that being an okay thing to do.
Yeah.
He was talking about, I don't know, some of the stuff from Trust was started when he was a teenager and and came back and finished. So there's one here that I might do if there's time for another one. From Mug that's very much like that. It's called Good Luck with All That.
Okay.
I wrote the verses of that, and then, or actually no, I wrote the chorus of that first, excuse me, and that just sat in a notebook for a good 3-4 years. And then the verses showed up and it's like, oh, this emotion is the same. And the key's the same. And so let's
came back around. No, let's do it. We're all set.
Take a listen.
We're all set up. Let's do it.
You're listening to the Rock and Roll Chicago Podcast. Hey, it's Ray and Mike, and we got some great information for you.
Yeah, we just wanted to remind you about the fundraiser for the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, which is taking place on October 27th at the Renaissance Center in downtown Joliet.
You'll be able to get tickets at Cadillac Groove shows. If you see Mike or myself somewhere, we'll have tickets. You can get them at the museum. They're only $5.
Also, at CadillacGroove.com, you will be able to purchase them online as well.
Very good.
They're going to cost you $5 a ticket. There's going to be a $10 cover charge to get in the day of the event. And for your $10, we will give you 2 more additional tickets, as well as some Cadillac Groove swag. And the lucky grand prize winner will win the band Cadillac Groove.
And winner must be present to win. So remember that.
And Cadillac Groove will play for whatever event it is that you would like for us to play for. You know, conditions do apply.
That's true.
We do have
so
to
get out there and get your tickets right away. For the second time.
Yeah.
Don't wanna screw this up in the morning, but I'm mourning every loss, every cup, Irish breakfast, me a wreck, just give a toss, me a bone, chilling alone, willing, I'm not undone. Just done being a diplomat. Now she's yours, all yours. Good luck with all that. I pray not to screw this up in the attic. Feel the static from the floor. Manage a much headroom in this drawer. There's a key changing. It is me. It's strange and I'm not undone. Just done being an acrobat. Now she's yours, all yours. So good luck with all that. Tried not to screw this up.
Very nice.
Wow, that was powerful.
Yeah, it was.
That was very powerful. That was good. Excellent. Excellent.
So yeah, but that's two really distinct parts.
Yeah.
So I just had the chorus bit for years.
Yeah.
And then there's at a slow morning one morning, I was like, oh yeah, I feel that now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you had to have some life experiences over those 3 years. That's how you came up with it.
Plenty of them.
You know, you didn't have it. You didn't have it back then.
Exactly. The idea comes sometimes before life happens that makes it make sense. And you're
Right.
like, I don't know why I thought of that.
Yeah.
Then you find out why later.
So how did you hook up with your label? How did that
Big
come
story.
about?
This is a really good story, but a really nerdy story. So that also
We
ties
like
right
nerds.
in.
We like
Yeah.
nerdy stories.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing.
Yeah.
We got podcast pocket protectors.
Yeah. I mean, Ray wouldn't be here if we didn't like nerds.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'll dive right in. Early days of the internet, fan groups like anybody remember Usenet or
Oh, yeah.
like old internet and email lists of just fans trying to make some community and meet each other. One of the ones I was on was fans of the English singer-songwriter Robin Hitchcock, who was also from that same late 80s time frame. Pretty obscure. He was on a major label for a little while, but not as well known as he should be. Anyway, big fans. So definitely a kind of person who drives a loyal following. So I was on this group. One of the other people on this group was a fellow named Rex Broom, who in many years in between, we just became friends. He's also a musician and songwriter. We would keep in touch. We would see each other through good times and hard times. We'd send each other songs in progress. Hey, does this suck? No, this doesn't suck. You're all right. And for about 15 years, that goes on, turns into him founding first a concert series out in Burbank, California, and that growing into a record label in conjunction with his co-writer and co-label founder, Christina Wolbenko. They form Big Stir Records. And that started in 2016. I was not ready with a new thing yet. I was slowly working on some songs. And then I got a couple of things that I felt like were good enough to bring my friend and say, hey, you can say no. You can totally say no. I won't think a thing, but is this ready? Do you think you would put this out as one of your singles? And they're like, finally you get something to us. And so that was just sweet. They've been waiting the whole time. So it's a really, really cool, nurturing group of people. So that was late 2019. Put out my first single with them and delivered a record, the first album with them, which was called Rebuilding Permit. The CDs from that arrived from the factory in March of 2020.
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
And you can't unmake CDs once you've made them. So we're like, well, what the hey? Let's see if anybody needs some music. And
wow.
It turned out, though, it's a good set of songs for that time. It was was doing a lot of life changes and perseverance, and circumstances were changing. Like it was a period when I got sober, is a period when a lot of stuff was getting together and in my life. And so it kind of fit. It turned out a lot of people told me so, that they're like, this was a really consoling kind of record in 2020 for me. And that's the best. I mean, what's better than that for praise?
Right.
For sure.
That's what I always look to music for. So that was a sweet thing. So we built on that.
Yeah. It could have been a blessing in disguise, because like you said, everybody needed consoling during that time period. And it was probably more therapeutic for you than anything else,
Yeah. I mean, I always try to be really close to that kind of emotional thing anyway. And so, if it came along at a time that was helpful for folks when the world was blowing up, then that's the best possible contribution I could make, you know? And through that, I just seemed to keep making friends and keep making little inroads and getting airplay on FM for the first time in 20 years, and all kinds of cool things started to happen. So it's really good.
Did you spend any significant time out in LA working with?
I've done a couple of visits. Okay. I did do my very first tour. I'd never gotten to do a tour while I was young and in bands. It just wasn't the situation. We didn't have enough, we weren't there.
Right.
So finally in 21, after first couple of vaccines are out, starting to get a little bit of reopening done. The venues who made it were reopening. We put together a tour. So I did it solo with a high school buddy of mine who professionally does big live concert, like front of house and monitor work for a living, currently employed by Coheed and Cambria.
Oh, wow.
Full time, but has done the big festivals, whatever. He's brilliant. And he's like, dude, the venues are opening. Now's the time. Get in the van.
Yeah.
Fly out here. Get in the van.
Wait. Get in the van, fly out here. That was one hell of a van.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
It was the A-Team van. Yeah, it was the A-Team van. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's based out in Phoenix, in Mesa, Arizona, actually. And so we did a little jaunt up and then jaunt back down. And that included a stop in LA to visit the label. And I wrote a song about it on the record. It doesn't really work on acoustic, so I won't do it here. But the single and video "California Again."
I watched that video.
Yeah,
that's a good song.
Thank you, man.
You can't play it here? Oh, come on.
I could try. All right,
I think you can.
If you dare me, it is a pretty. There's a lot of like harmony lead guitar that's kind of quick that probably won't work, but I'll adapt it.
Okay, I think I have confidence in you.
I appreciate it very much. All right.
Me too.
And it was a good video too.
Yeah. So that video, when you look for it, it's footage, it's literal footage from that trip.
Yeah.
So that's,
I think that's what was so cool about it.
It was really fun. I took all kinds of video and I'm like, right on. All right. I'll edit this together. So California Again. I'll give it a whirl.
Let's give it a shot.
Lost my mind, was bound for Phoenix. Palm Springs dried out my double helix. Split jeans on stage in Fresno, true story. I left my beans in San Francisco. Grabbed a dated shake from Shields. Spinning wheels without an end. California Again. I played the truck stop at the winery. Did not get decked out in my fine Rio like night at the brewery. Lightly rattled all their jewelry, telly, banjo, and cowbell. Uber swell, new and old friend, California Again. My honey's flying out for the weekend. Kaleidoscopes in Jerome. the time it ended, I found myself best rock befriended, a pergalow Paisley, which never ceases to amaze me. Too much heart for one-on war. Traveled far, soon home. This winter it's California again, Arizona again, go see Sedona again, and California again.
I told you that was a good song.
Yeah, this is very good. Yeah. I want to just hop in the van
Yeah.
and go.
Yeah, no, that's what you totally, let's go.
Let's go.
The flying van.
The flying van, yes.
Right. Shut up, ladies. Jesus. That's it.
They just love him.
They love, they're all over him.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to stop. What's going on here?
They're getting
There they go. Okay, there you go. They finally.
It's exhausting after a while trying to get my attention.
Yeah, I know. All the pennies they just threw up on the stage and everything.
I know.
Yeah. So no, a great song. I'm glad you played that. That was a good one.
Thanks for goading me. Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, there was one other thing that I couldn't quite understand on your website. There was something about there isn't a single here or something like that. Oh. Gosh.
What did I do? Oh no.
It was like the title of something that said something like there's no single in this or something like that.
Oh gosh, that means I better go fire the webmaster. He's sitting right in front of you.
Don't even worry about it. I was in a section where I was just kind of going through some of the albums and some of the music and everything that you had. And there was one thing on there that there was a little blurb about it, and it said something like, and somebody told me that there isn't a single in here, and I'm like, okay. Well, I said, I need to ask you about that, but I guess we don't know.
No. Yeah. Oh man, who knows?
That's all right. We'll figure it out later.
Not enough coffee was with that. Yeah.
You know what was so funny? The last song that you did, you heard the sirens go by and stuff. And I don't think they're going to be picked up in these microphones because they're really good. Yeah. But that reminded me, you ever see the movie, Begin Again? There's a movie.
No. Okay. I think I remember
Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
And God, the name of the actress is escaping me right now, but she's this great singer-songwriter, and neither one of them have the money to record an album. And Mark Ruffalo plays this music producer that's been ousted by his own label because he's got his own addictions and the whole bit. So he says, you know what? He's like, screw it. We're going to record an album anyway. So he puts this thing in the trunk of his old BMW, and they go around New York City hiring musicians. They even get kids playing basketball to sing backup, and all the sounds of New York City are in the background of these.
What a movie!
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's called Begin Again.
Begin Again.
But when I heard the sirens and everything going back and forth while you were playing, I was like, this totally reminds me of the movie Begin Again.
That's amazing. Honestly, I didn't hate the timing of that siren because the mood in that song is kind of very early, too early in the morning in my, at the time, apartment in Andersonville, really bummed out. And just trying to capture a thought quietly, and definitely sirens would be going by. I would hear the train and I would hear sirens. So that if it does pick up, it's absolutely belongs.
Right.
Honor that.
So you playing around the Chicagoland area?
Yeah. So let's see. I have
something for September.
I have not yet. We're finalizing schedules. It's been a good, busy summer. And I've got a few things in the works that I think we'll publish to the website when they're final.
Sure.
But we have tried to keep busy, a few solo things and a few band things. And just always very happy to get out and do it. Yeah. I've been the highlights of the year live, probably playing International Pop Overthrow Festival, which I've done for 3 years now. They've been doing it in Chicago for 21 years. This is the 21st year. And that's always really fun. Multiple days, a whole lot of people doing some variation of loud guitars and melody and all of it. So a lot of us who like the same records and get to geek out about it and support each other. It's always a really fun week. So that's every April at the Montrose Saloon in Chicago.
Oh yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
So that's always a blast. And played at Carrie's Lounge, even a little bit further north up in Devon, which is run by a dear old friend of mine, Pete Valadanis, and I always like to go play there. Blue Island Beer, I think I mentioned on air because we saw the Enough is Enough content here at the museum and got to open for Donnie V. That was a really fun 2023 show. So I like to go there whenever I can, get to play. There's some things. Homewood, where I'm at, is starting to open up a little bit more, in terms of, there's a lot of local talent there. There's some really talented people who have settled there, and it's a great school music program as well. So a lot of people stick around who are very gifted. And so I'm a regular at the Homewood Farmers Market, which will still be going for a few more weeks in September. So every few weeks, I'll be the guy who makes it hard to hear while you're negotiating the price of vegetables. And so that's always really sweet, though. You get to see kids running around and folks stop by and talk to you, sometimes mid-song.
Right.
That's all part of it. So that's good.
Yeah. So what is your website so people can find you?
Right. So my website is dolphchaney.com. It's DOLPHCHANEY. And Dolph Chaney, all run together, is what most of my social media handle is. For Facebook, go to Dolph Chaney Music to get the events and stuff. And also a lot of things at the record label's website, bigstirrecords.com. That's, I'm findable, obnoxiously so.
Well, actually, I found it pretty quickly. I did actually. I entered your name into Google, and that was actually the first thing that popped up. It took me right to their website.
Good. So. It is one of the benefits of having a name. It wasn't a great name to have, say, in second grade, but like as a grown up, once you've weathered those things, I guess you've earned it. And, you know, if somebody yells Dolph in a crowded room, they're probably talking to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Google is helpful, rather than being one more Jim Smith. No offense to Jim Smith, whoever Jim Smith is. It's a little easier.
Yeah. But then when Rocky IV came out, then everybody wanted, you know.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And they must break me. They must
break you. And see, now I need that sound effect that we couldn't get.
Yeah. I'll figure out. I'm going to look it up how to kind of get those things.
I must break you.
Yeah. All righty, Dolph. Thanks for coming out.
Ray, Mike, it's been an absolute delight. Really appreciate your time. It's been fun.
It's been our pleasure.
We really enjoy listening to you. I like your stuff, man. You have a couple more fans here, I think.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Well, there you have it. A man called Dolph, who is finless. He was finless tonight.
He was just finless. Yeah. I was really impressed with his songwriting. Holy crap.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I was listening to it before, the show earlier today, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and he plays that acoustic guitar like it's an electric.
Yeah.
I mean, that was amazing. I mean, his hands never stood still. I mean, he's very accomplished.
Yeah, and this new album, I think there's like 13 songs on this thing, man. It's that's a lot of music to listen to. You definitely got to go get it. It's called Mug.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at his playing schedule as well, because he's playing a lot of places in the Chicagoland area that enjoy live original music.
That's right.
I'd like to go and check some of those out. Maybe you guys can all join us one day.
There's just aren't enough original bands out there anymore, but it's sure nice to have one come in once in a while.
Yep, sure is.
So as always, thank you for listening to the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast, and check us out every Tuesday for another exciting new episode. See you next week. Hey, everybody, it's Ray the Roadie.
And this is Hollywood Mike of the Rock and Roll Chicago podcast. If you've been enjoying our weekly program, we have great news for you. Just tune in to Road to Rock Radio on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Time, and you can hear a rebroadcast of one of our past episodes. Then again on Thursdays at 7 p.m., you can hear our most current episode brought to you by the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66.
So go to roadtorock.org, scroll down, and click on Radio Station. That'll bring you to the Road to Rock Radio, a station committed entirely to the great music from Illinois, from Chicago blues born on Maxwell Street to today's rock and roll and everything in between. 24/7, all music with its roots in Illinois. The The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast is edited by Paul Martin. Theme song courtesy of M&R Rush. The Rock and Roll Chicago podcast does not own the rights to any of the music heard on the show. The music is used to promote the guests that are featured.
Rock and Roll Chicago.